The breakthrough didn't arrive with fanfare. It came quietly, almost unnoticed considering its significance. After months of sonar scans and unsuccessful drilling attempts, the team detected something unusual. About 180 feet beneath the swamp area, there it was, a perfectly sealed void, untouched and preserved. It didn't appear in any previous excavation records. According to geological data, it shouldn't even exist, yet somehow it did. A hidden chamber carved into bedrock, positioned beneath a tunnel aligned with the original money pit. For Rick, this wasn't just another dig. It was the anomaly they had been chasing for years. The one thing that never quite fit. Early scans raised even more questions. The metallic readings were too dense to be natural, too structured to be random. This wasn't debris. It was deliberate, layered, engineered, and aligned alongside a secondary shaft, never documented in 18th century maps. That was the moment it became clear. This wasn't the work of settlers or treasure hunters. This had been constructed centuries earlier. When the data came in, Rick said something that was caught on camera. This could be the original vault. And then came the moment of truth. When the team finally breached the outer seal, they were met with hand-carved stone, weathered by time, yet unmistakably crafted. At the entrance sat a limestone slab, roughly the size of a door, etched with a symbol no one could ignore. A cross pattée, the iconic mark of the Knights Templar. The carving wasn't new. It bore the wear of centuries. Carbon dating later confirmed it. It predated colonial settlements, even the earliest European maps of the region. But what truly amazed researchers wasn't just the symbol, it was the preservation. The slab had been sealed with marine clay, a technique designed to prevent saltwater damage. Whoever built this didn't just understand construction, they mastered it. Along the edge of the stone, barely visible beneath layers of buildup, were intricate markings, coded symbols, and lines. Later, analysis revealed something astonishing. They matched carvings found in Rosslyn Chapel, a site long associated with Templar history. When Marty Lagina saw the connection, his reaction said it all. This isn't theory anymore. For the first time, there was a physical link, real, undeniable, connecting Oak Island to the Templars. Not speculation, not legend. Proof, carved in stone and hidden for over 6 centuries. But what came next pushed things even further. As the team explored deeper into the chamber, another radar sweep revealed something extraordinary. The signals returned in perfect intervals, metallic echoes repeating with precision. Whatever lay below wasn't scattered. It was arranged, structured rows, too uniform to be natural rock. Rick ordered a micro-drill test, a careful attempt to extract material without damaging the chamber. When the sample came back, it told a story no one expected. Quartz dust mixed with fine particles of gold. Not raw gold. Refined, worked, melted, and shaped by ancient hands. The kind of craftsmanship seen in relics, not currency. For the first time in years, Rick dropped his usual caution and said something that sent shockwaves through the entire Oak Island community. We're not chasing a legend anymore. We're standing on top of it. That moment changed everything. If this gold had been refined long before Europeans arrived in Nova Scotia, then this wasn't just a treasure hunt anymore. It was something much bigger, a search for lost knowledge, a hidden chapter of history. The team needed answers, not just from the ground, but from the past. And that's when history responded. Inside the French Naval Archives in La Rochelle, a maritime historian uncovered a forgotten map dated 1701. Faded and fragile, it carried a name that instantly caught Rick and Marty's attention. L'Île Perdue, the Island of Lost Gold. When adjusted for centuries of magnetic shift, the coordinates aligned almost perfectly with Oak Island. But the real shock was in the margins. Written in a mix of Latin and Old French were the words, Coffres du Temple, the coffers of the temple, hidden beneath engineered layers designed to collapse if disturbed. When the brothers compared the map to their excavation layout, the match was chillingly precise. The chamber they had just opened sat exactly where the map marked the treasure. Marty called it too precise to be coincidence, but Rick wasn't convinced. To him, this felt intentional. Someone in La Rochelle had mapped this out centuries before Oak Island was ever officially known. That meant the vault's secret didn't vanish with the fall of the Templars. It survived. maybe carried across the Atlantic by sailors fleeing the purge, bringing fragments of the Order's hidden wealth with them. Again and again, research circled back to one mysterious name, scratched out in old port records, La Rochelle's ghost, a ship rumored to have disappeared during the arrest of the Knights Templar. Some historians believed it never sank. It simply changed identity and slipped westward into the unknown. And now, that forgotten chart seemed to confirm it. Oak Island wasn't Sluchanist. It was a destination. A carefully chosen endpoint for something never meant to fall into the hands of the French crown. Back underground, the excavation pushed deeper. As layers of stone and sediment were cleared from the newly traced tunnel, one worker noticed a faint glint embedded in the limestone. At first glance, it looked like a thin piece of wire, but it was far more than that. It was a fragment of a delicate brass chain, fused into the rock like a fossil frozen in time. Once cleaned and magnified, the details became clear. Each link carried tiny engravings, everyone shaped into the unmistakable Templar cross. This wasn't decoration. It wasn't personal jewelry. It was ceremonial, likely part of the regalia worn by high-ranking members of the Order. Lab tests confirmed it. This artifact wasn't colonial, and it wasn't modern. Its metal composition matched 13th century French craftsmanship, nearly identical to chains recovered from Templar burial sites near Poitiers. Every element, from the soldering style to the alloy purity, pointed straight back to medieval Europe. The implications were massive. This object existed more than 150 years before any recorded European presence in the New World. That single chain alone had the power to rewrite Oak Island's history. But what they uncovered next changed everything again. Carefully brushing away the soil beneath the chain, the team revealed a small lead container. It was compact, light enough to hold in both hands, but heavily corroded, as if it had barely survived the centuries. Its seams were sealed with hardened wax and resin, each edge shaped by hand. Inside, preserved by oxygen-starved mud, was something almost unbelievable. A folded piece of parchment, delicate, fragile, yet still intact. Under controlled conditions, conservators slowly unrolled it. As the material opened, faint black ink began to appear, lines of medieval French script whispering across time. When translated, the message sent chills through the entire room. It spoke of l'Arche Grande, the Great Ark, and warned of le secret sous la rose, the secret beneath the rose. These weren't random phrases, they were known Templar codes. The Great Ark referred to sacred relics believed to have been removed from Jerusalem. The rose symbolized secrecy, a hidden truth protected from the outside world. Experts compared the handwriting to records preserved in the Archives Nationales de France. One match stood out, a scribe who had been active in Paris, right up until the very day the Templars were condemned in 1307. That connection placed the parchment directly in the final moments of the Order's existence. But there was more. Using infrared imaging, researchers discovered something hidden within the text. The first letters of each line formed an acrostic, a coded message. When decoded, it revealed a Latin phrase, Domus Dei, House of God. To Templar scholars, that phrase carried deep meaning. It pointed not to faith alone, but to the inner sanctum of the Order, the place where their most sacred relics were hidden before they vanished from Europe. Rick stood silently over the translation before finally saying, "Whoever put this here didn't want it found. They wanted it understood. The chain, the parchment, the map. These weren't isolated discoveries. They were pieces of a single path, one that began in medieval France, crossed the Atlantic, and ended beneath the swamps of Nova Scotia." For Rick and Marty, the conclusion was unavoidable. This vault wasn't a legend. It was planned, designed, protected, and whatever it was hiding went far beyond gold. That realization shifted everything. This wasn't just history, it was advanced design. Whoever created these clues had knowledge of engineering, navigation, and concealment far beyond their time. And if the artifacts were meant to guide the right people here, then the structure itself may have been built to keep everyone else out. Acting on that theory, the team recalibrated their borehole targets, focusing on the area just beyond the vault's alignment. What they discovered next didn't match anything from earlier surveys. The next chamber was nothing like anything they had seen before. This wasn't rough stone or collapsed rubble, it was precision built. As the drill cut deeper, the borehole camera captured something completely unexpected. a lattice of wood and brass woven directly into the bedrock itself.